My name is Brian Watkins, and this is a video tutorial for our Accounting 231 class. This is the tutorial on how to produce the fixed principal payment loan schedule. Now, the only difference between this one and the one you did before is that you're no longer using the Excel function payment in order to find a fully amortizing payment. Instead, you're taking the principal amount, dividing it by the number of months, and then just running interest. That means your payment will go down every month as your interest decreases. So read through your instructions. Let's take a look here. Here's the numbers that we need to include. So we'll pull up a spreadsheet. There's our spreadsheet. Let's name it. I didn't do this the first time, but it's always a good practice to name these things. Accounting 231 Test 2, the fixed principal payment loan schedule. Alright, there we go. We have it's saved, its name will come up, and we can begin. And you recall the rules. The rules don't change. We're going to use as the title, use Control U and Control B for your bold and underline. The fixed principal payment loan schedule. It's prepared by yourself. It's prepared on the date that you prepare it. Okay, we want to make sure that you remember. Look at that. I'm still getting those wrong. Get those right. Now, this is the tricky one. We want to define what happens. So this spreadsheet will prepare a list of, or actually, let's put a schedule of monthly loan payments for a loan with a constant interest rate and a constant principal amount to be repaid each month. I think that's as good as we're going to get. So let's highlight through G, and you recall we're going to merge it, we're going to wrap it, we're going to top align it, we're going to left justify it. Then we pull it down so it's just right. Okay, that's our title section. Alright, one blank line, and then we do our data section, which is also in bold and underline. And let's go out to the same number of columns that we did for our row 4. We're going to give this a background color. So let's give it, say, a light green. And the color bar has a thick box border. Okay, so we'll come down. Now let's look at our variables. Now, when we did this before, we called the main number the home price. But when you're doing a fixed principal payment, it's typically not homes. So let's just call it asset price this time. Okay? And then we'll have a down payment percentage, which could be 0 if there's no down payment, but there's typically some kind of down payment. Down payment in dollars. Okay? Once we have our down payment in dollars, then we can subtract that from the asset price and see the amount financed. Okay, we want to know what our interest rate is. We want to know the loan period in years, and then we'll figure out the monthly payment. Okay, I think we've got everything. Now I'm going to teach you a little trick. And this is one that was found by one of my advanced Excel students in the 386 class. I think it's nifty. We're going to assign names to all the variables as required by all of the spreadsheet rules of formatting, okay? But rather than type it each time, we're going to have the computer pick up what we've already typed. So put the cursor, select the top of your column that has the names in it, hold down your Shift key, and then use your down arrow. Or, alternatively, if you want to use your mouse, you click, hold the button down, and drag. Okay, and then go over one column so that you're highlighting the next column, which is blank. Now, here's a shortcut. Control Shift F3. Okay, Control Shift F3 brings up the create names from selection. We're going to create names for these values from the left column. So the name of this cell is going to be asset price and all the way down. Okay, replace existing definition of down payment. Let's see. Say yes. Why am I replacing anything? Oh, I see what's going on. Because we have the down payment percentage and the down payment dollar sign, the program is not sophisticated enough to figure out that for number 9 it's down payment percentage and number 10 it's down payment in dollars. So now we've got to do some editing, which is good. Let me just show you where I found the name manager. We were here. Now go to the formula ribbon, name manager button. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to fix up that little problem caused by the fact that the computer doesn't read special characters. So the down payment in 10, that's fine. What we need now is a name for down payment percentage. So I'm going to hit new, and the name is going to be down payment percentage. And it's going to refer to, and when I hit this block, it says it'll let me go and pick what it's going to refer to. It's going to refer to sheet 1, that's the bottom tab, C9, and the the dollar signs mean that it will always fix on that cell. It will never change. So I hit OK. So now my down payment percentage is on C9, and I have C8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 all named. Okay, now the next problem is I have to take these entries, so I'm going to select from C8 to C14, and I'm going to use the cut command, Control X. Control X cuts, and now I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to paste it over, let's paste it over to D. So I'll put my cursor at the top of D and hit Control V, which is paste. Now the cut and paste also cut and pasted the names. So here's the name box. When I click on asset price appears. There's the down payment percentage, down payment, amount financed, interest rate, loan period in years, and monthly payment. They're all named. We don't have to mess with them. So that shortcut again for the define name, you can see if you hover over define name. Okay. If I click on define name, then we can do Control Shift F3 to bring it up. I thought that would show up there, but apparently it didn't. So remember that shortcut, and the trick is that you have your names but only one empty row of cells, and then it'll figure out that you want to name the empty row of cells using these names. Now we need a lot more room to work, so we're going to use the same trick I taught you before to highlight these columns. Okay, and the way that works is you click in the actual letter and pull it across the columns, and let's make it a column width 13. Okay, that looks about right. We could always check our output to see if we went too far. Nope, looks like it's just fine, because we can keep our schedule on one page for our client. Alright, now the asset price, you'll recall, is given to you 168. Down payment percentage 25%, 0.25 because we haven't formatted yet. And then interest rate was 4.85. So I'll put 0.0485 because that's not formatted yet. And the loan period in years was 10. Okay. Now, anything that doesn't have a formula in it in the data section needs to have colored background. So I hold the control key down, I click here, 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 and here. Let's unclick that. It's like a toggle. I just unclicked it. And I'm going to put that background in. Okay, it did it anyway. I want to get rid of that, so I go no fill. There we go. I want all of these to be centered. I want, let's see, let's start with asset price. I'm holding control down. Asset price, down payment, amount financed, and monthly payment will all be currency. Alright, and these two, this is going to be a percent with no decimals, and this one will be a percent, but I need to show 1, 2 decimals. If I needed 3, I would just add another one there. But remember, you have to have all your decimals visible. Okay, let's do our formulas now. Formulas start with an equal sign, and I want to use my asset price times my down payment percentage, and that will tell me how much of that 168,000 I need to come up with. 42,000. Good. The amount financed is going to be the asset price minus the down payment. Okay, so this is how much the bank will give me. They want me to pay 42, and then on top of, they'll pay whatever's left over to get to that asset price, which is 126. So now, how do I determine my monthly payment? Actually, this is good. It's not monthly payment. It's monthly principal payment. Okay, and remember, when you're paying a loan, you have interest and principal. So let's go in here and let's edit that again. Okay, so monthly payment, we're going to edit, and we're going to make that monthly principal payment. Sorry about that. There we go. Close. The monthly principal payment is determined by taking the number of years that you have. Let's do a parenthesis, very important. So we're going to have loan period in years times 12. That is going to be how many monthly payments we're going to make. And then what we're going to do is take our asset price and divide it by that number. Okay, I did it backwards. Let's do it. Let's escape and do it again. So we want to take our, sorry, not the asset price, the amount financed. Okay, and then we're going to divide that by, I need a parenthesis here, the loan period in years times 12. If I don't have the parenthesis, it's going to divide loan period before it multiplies, and you're going to get a bad number. Okay, so take the amount that you borrowed and divide it by the number of months that you're making payments, and that means that each month you're going to pay $1,000 or $1,050. Alright, so that's our data section. Now we need a blank line, Control U, Control B, and we'll do our answer section. Okay, and our answer section needs its colored background, so we could give it an orange, I guess. Alright, and we'll wrap it. And what are the data columns? They're the same as before. We're going to have a month, we'll have a payment, we'll have interest, principal, and the loan balance. Okay, and the rule says that we take our column headings, let's select them all and do it all at once. We center, bold, and underline. Okay, and then we start with a 0 month, which we're also, let's enter that, we're going to center that. And you'll recall that your spreadsheet, even though it says 10 here, it has to be capable of doing 30 years. So I need all 360 months. Let's center those while we're here. 0, 1, 2. Now I highlight them and I pick up that little fill and I come down, and now it's counting. And I'm going to go all the way down to 360. If you go farther than that, that's not a problem either. So 360. So there's our numbers. Okay, and then the rest of it is very similar. Okay, our loan balance when we start is equal to amount financed. So we'll bring that down. Make sure we format it. I like to use the comma format. Okay, now since we're doing this backwards, we have to calculate the interest first. We know what the principal is, so let's just pull our principal payment down. It's going to be the same every month. That way, once we've gone through 10 years, we will have paid back the original obligation. But what's going to differ is going to be this interest amount. That's going to change every single month. And the interest, you basically take the prior, just go to the loan balance and up 1. So the prior month's balance times the interest rate, and remember that's an annual rate, so you need to divide the interest rate by 12 to get a monthly rate. So the monthly rate of interest times the amount you owe, which will always be over 2 and up 1. So we're going to use a relative address, that is an address without dollar signs in it. So there's our interest. Okay, and then the payment is this interest plus principal. Okay, so it's a little bit different than your prior loan. Now the loan balance, it's the same as before. You take your prior month and you subtract the amount of the principal payment. And that's your first line. Now I can highlight the whole thing and I can double click on it and it will shoot all the way down to 360. Now we've got some problems here, and I wanted to do it this way to show you that, for example, the interest, let's format that with a comma, and then I'll double click and send that format all the way down. Good, now that's cleaned up. So our format is good. Now look, we know that 10 years is 120 months, and that's where it amortizes to 0. Okay, I'm pretty sure I sent that down, but let's I'm going to do the second one. If I were to do this one, see, that's amount financed, but here I have the formula. So if I'm going to copy this all the way down the column, I want to make sure I use my formula. Okay, so that comes all the way down. What can we do? Now I'm going to teach you a quick and dirty way of fixing up a spreadsheet that comes to an end where we just don't want the junk to be visible to the client. Okay, and this is again a shortcut. I'm just showing you how it works, but don't use it unless I give you permission to use it. So what we do is we take, let's see here, let's go down to where the 0 is. We take everything below that. So here we've gotten all the way to the bottom, and we're going to group it together. Okay, we're going to group it together going to the data and the group. Okay, this is tie a range of cells together so they can be collapsed or expanded. So when I click on it and I say group, it'll say rows, and that's what I want. I want rows. Okay, now it puts a bracket over here, and when I click on number 1, it folds that right up so that you don't see anything past this amount. So if I was asked to just email this over to the boss, I'd take a quick look at it. Let's make sure everything's fine. There's a problem. We push that up. Okay. Let's check our printing. Print. Oop. Missing our custom footer. Okay, and let's put it in the center, and it's the file path. Okay, so now that's there, and if we take a look at it, print, you'll see that it comes to an end right there. Boom, it's done. You don't get all of that junk printing out. Okay, that's a quick and dirty way of doing it. Now if you want to undo it, let's just say that now someone's come to us and said, hey, what if I take 25 years to pay that? Okay, let's look at 25 years. Well, now I want to see this data, so I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to come down to 300, which is 25 years. Okay, so now I would want to get rid of the prior definition, so I'll go over to data, and I'll go to the group, clear the outline, clear the whole thing. Oh, I put it in there. You don't. Okay. I'm going to let you see my mistakes here because they happen. This is a particularly nasty mistake to make, because if you fold things twice, it becomes very difficult to open them again. So make sure everything is open. Make sure that you select from the bottom. Okay, now I've got them all open. So I'm going to select from above all the way down to the bottom, and now ungroup the rows. Okay, so now that takes me back to where I was before, and if I want to redo it, then I start here, come down, and do the group again. Okay, this is a quick and dirty way of cleaning things up, but you have to be very careful not to double it. So now I'm going to undo it. Wait, I have to have the full, okay, click out. I don't have to be right at the beginning, but it has to be entirely within my selection. Okay, so here, I'll start the selection here, go all the way to the bottom. It's entirely within that blue. I ungroup, and I'm set. Okay? So just understand how to use that grouping function. It can come in handy in a pinch, but remember that it's kind of a fudge. It doesn't really do the trick for you. So what's the big difference between number 2 and number 1? It's the payment. Okay, your formula now is just the amount financed divided by the number of months in the loan. There's nothing complicated. There's no formula like the payment formula with lots of different variables to catch. So as long as you remember what the spreadsheet is trying to do, you shouldn't have any trouble spitting this out and doing it exactly the way you did the first one. Now, a note. I want you to remember that I've given 2 very easy formats first. The next test, test 3, is on pivot tables. And you must start studying for pivot tables right away. There's just too much to try and learn all at once for you to wait until near the end. So just a fair warning, I'm going to do extra credit on this, and I'll make that a separate video.